Hey everyone, Soulblade here, and with Season 2 of the Owl House just around the corner, I'd like to spend some time today going over the brand new trailer that released for the first half, go over my thoughts, as well as analyze some stuff to see what could be coming our way in Season 2. Without further ado, let's get started with the very first scene, which is the one I believe to be which is how we're going to start off Episode 1, with Luz making a video to her mom. And it basically is trying to show giving her a quick recap, also establishing for us the viewers that Season 2 is going to start a week and a half after the events of Youngblood Old Souls. However, one thing to note is, around the half-minute mark, where Luz had uttered the phrase, keep moving forward, kind of hinting that she is trying to stay positive even though her choices of the past are still drawing on her. Kind of goes away a bit, and as she goes back to her hopeful self, as well as bringing out the key, showing she still kept it after the events. And so then from there, we get our next official shot, which is from, I believe, see episode 3, which shows Luz, King, and Lilith traveling to the island they're going to explore. We see Luz and King using Albert, and Lilith using her own staff to fly over there. And with this we get a much clearer shot as to Lilith's new design, now that she's a part of the Owl Gang. Which we see her wearing a gray shirt with a low battery sign, and more cut-up dress beyond that. Not going to mention the backpack she's wearing, because that's going to show up later. The next shot after that is Luz and Amity in episode 5, which we see they're about to head into the forbidden area in the library. But interesting to note is Amity actually is wearing different clothing, because in episode 12, we see her with pink leggings, but here they're red. Now, whether this could be a color correction that they might do when episode 5 airs or not, time will tell. But interesting to note for now. After that, we then see Luz encounter. The next shot showed Luz encountering a demon with Albert. What episode this could be from, honestly, it's hard to tell which episode it is. Her without her cape, though, does kind of lead it might not be from episode 3, because we see her going to the island with the cape on there. Next shot, we see her possibly in episode 3 or a future episode. Although with the ruins does kind of hit to episode 3 through the future events. Where she's looking for is, well, wait and see. Next shot, we get our first look at the operative the masked figure outside of the intro and the last few episodes. But what's interesting is that you're looking over a beast with antlers. Now, could this possibly be a cursed form of Belos? We'll have to wait and see, but if that is the case, that would be interesting if the three main powerful characters, Belos, Eda, and Lilith, all have a cursed form they have to deal with. After that, we see a shot of demon books flying through the air, and then we get a look at a brand new Coven Guard. And you can tell because of the upper Coven symbol look like, but beyond that, not much else is here. Next shot is of Gus practicing a fire spell and using illusion magic to make it bigger. Then we see a Coven Guard activating a spell as well. Next shot we get interesting because it's a version of Camilo in a new hairstyle. Now, it could be one of two things. One, this could be a flashback type episode where we get a younger Camila, or it could be present-day Camila as she's trying to find out what happened to Luz after discovering that her daughter never made it to camp. Next shot is Luz in a brand new attire as she activates an ice glyph, possibly from the very first episode, as she says to be dealing with her pretty much going on the high seas. After that, we get to see the Titan itself with flames engulfing it, and before a giant explosion is cast upon it. My theory is that it possibly might be a story Belos is trying to possibly Belos' version of events as to why he believes the Coven system is the most utilized for the benefit of the Owls itself. Next we see the masked spy acting pretty smugly, for if you ask me, giving a wave to more than likely the Owl Gang as he disappears, possibly after they thwarted his plans. Then we get just a shot with Bells with the mask fixed. Then we get a shot from, I believe, the BD Looking Glass ruins that Amity and Luz will be possibly exploring in episode 5. See, but not too long, they changed it, pretty much showing that things are going to get dark in that episode. Next shot we see is Luz in her new attire from episode 1, with what appears to be the Owl Spy staff. What's interesting is in that we possibly see a brand new talisman with Luz. We see it looks more like a cardinal. Now, normally, a regular bird from our realm would signal that this is a talisman of some kind. Whether or not this is Luz's talisman or one from the Bat Queen remains to be seen. Next up, we get a brand new Owl Beast. Now, this is possibly Lilith's form, now that she shares the curse, but it could easily be Ida's as well, because we don't know what splitting the curse does to even someone like Ida who had the Owl Beast curse before. So it could go either way regarding who this is, because we can't actually tell who it is in possession of the curse right now. Next up, we see a dragon that is also mixed with hands, more than owls. So that'd be interesting what the context of this dragon is. Next up, we see this new character, although we have actually seen this person before in the past. But I kind of want to wait on that until we see the person again. Next up is Willow possibly sneaking out of her house after more like a gut sent her a message. My guess is this would possibly be episode 2. They find out something that's going on with losing the Blights, and so they try to leave to stop it, or something else possibly. We don't know yet. Oh, next up, possibly the scene I am most excited to see what happens around it, is Amity. So this is obviously first up, episode 5, Amity and Luz at the library, but Amity actually has her hair down this time. And then we'll able to see here, she now works at the library. Or she possibly already has, but the extra credit was all a lie, as I kind of figured. But what's interesting here, we actually get to see now just how much of her natural hair is still there, even among the dye. Which is a lot more than I thought it would be. So then to bring it back to the ponytail, but I'm interested in seeing like what will happen after that, because I'm assuming Luz is with her, so what will be Luz's reaction to seeing Amity with her hair down? Time will tell. So next up, we get the new creature of some sort with the lantern. So, and possibly a guardian of the library, honestly, with the fact I'm not seeing with the book symbol on the lantern. And next up, ooh, Mama Clawthorn is showing up. And we tell with the eagle talisman on the staff, and as from Dana mentioned in AMA, that birds are pretty much going to be a sign of a Clawthorn. And due to recent revelations, we know that her name is Gwendolyn Clawthorn. Now, what's interesting to note here overall is the orange symbol on her arm, which suggests she's in the Beastkeeping Coven. So it's interesting to find a Clawthorn actually a part of the system. Especially with a giant eagle talisman. Next up, what I believe to be episode 2, a giant golem abomination, with some early hints as to who's behind the creation of the abomination, and why I believe this is from episode 2. But more on that will be meet as soon as someone later. Next up is Kiki casting a spell of some kind, and then the big reveal here. All 9 Coven leaders. We got the first 5 Bard, healing, illusions, potions, beastkeeping, and then oracle, plant, construction, and abominations. And with this one, the Bard Coven leader has a striking resemblance to this person right here. And so now, moving forward from there, next shot we see a light that King is trying to reach. This is probably gonna be the start to episode 3. Because the episode 3 is kind of talking about how King's grandeur visions. More likely, King to be waking up from a dream where this is. So this is more like a dream sequence that King is waking up from that leads into the rest of the episode. Next shot, I believe to be the start of episode 4, where we see Lilith and Ida taking glyph lessons from Luz, which would be my best guess. Because now that Ida and Lilith will be utilizing glyph magic, they're going to learn all they can from the human. Luz herself. Next up is episode 3, where we find out how exactly Hooty is joining them on the journey to the island. Hooty in a backpack. And so then, as I mentioned before, that's what we saw. That was the backpack that we saw Lilith carrying in that part of the trailer. So the interesting is that they actually show the guts from ripping Hooty off the door. Next up, what I believe to be from episode 3, where they encounter an enemy just while they're on the island. And Lilith using ice magic after that, in honestly an interesting way. That's for sure. Which would be interesting to see like what Lilith and Ida can come up with to help Luz figure out how to utilize her glyph magic. Next up, episode 5, Gus' side of the story, where now we see another character from season 1, Bartholomew, is actually going to be joining up on the adventure. Next up, the Song of Ice and Fire. We're going to lose combining ice and fire magic, though that's actually interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what exactly is she doing here. Next up, flashback for Ida now. We go from present-day Ida to a younger Ida. And then after that, we get... I'm assuming this is going to be a guardian of some kind for the Looking Glass ruins, as you see the ruins behind there from episode 5. And next up is a big reveal. Odalia Blight. Amity's mom herself. As you can see, behind her is a sign that says Blight Industries, meaning they're the ones who created the abomination that we saw earlier in the trailer. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly is that abomination gun for. And so it's going to be interesting to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing what is going on here with Odalia in this shot. And especially now that we know what type of connections they have that would allow them to kick Luz and Co out of Hexside, as they are going to do in episode 2. Next shot, what I would assume to be episode 1, where Luz is using a ice cliff to free herself from her current predicament. Oh, and now here comes the moment I've been waiting to talk about. The person here, and why I believe they were from the Bard Coven. And why is that important? Well, this image right here. Because I believe, and a couple other members of the fandom also believe, due to the earring that we see here, that this person from the trailer is the same exact person that Ida was hanging out with during the Gresby photos. The mysterious R person. Who it could be, time will tell, but this episode is going to be interesting. Then after that, we get honestly a much older Ida than what we saw earlier. So more likely we're going to get more look into her life between when she was cursed and when we met up with her in the main show. After that, we see Luz trying to climb up a skeletal structure of some kind, before, not sure. After that, we get some interesting tidbits on possibly Ida's childhood with Gwendolyn. Argument of some kind, either with Ida's dad or maybe even Lilith herself, depending on what actually was going on in the family dynamic prior to Lilith cursing Ida. After that, we see Hooty using magic of some kind. Back to episode 3, where we see the creature more likely chasing, losing King more. Then we see a shot what I had to call Breath of the Wild Luz, where we see Luz riding out of some water. More shots of Lilith around Forest of Fire, using a stick to combat. And then we get a shot from episode 2, where we see part of Luz's deal to get her Willam Guts back into Hexside, with her fighting the Abomination Golem. What reason, what exactly is, why are they having her do that though? We'll have to wait and see. And then next shot, possibly from episode 1, where Luz is using plant magic. Wait, actually, hold on a minute. Okay, well, I thought for a second she wasn't using a glyph, but it's possible that they cut that part. And then we see Lumity moment with the pony hands. This is more likely from episode 5, considering we see neither one of them are in their school attire, more like in their regular outfits, so this would be episode 5. And then we go into Fast Lightning Round. Luz using a light spell to lighten up the room, using an ice spell to more likely still attacking the Abomination Golem, or possibly the Blights themselves at this point. Bella's breaking a talisman, as usual. The curse starting to affect Lilith, which does kind of suggest the owl beast we saw earlier in the trailer, it might actually be her. Mysterious person, which weirdly has like moon, stars, and even sun. So it's definitely interesting to see what this duality type person is going to be all about once we meet up with them. Possibly in the latter 5 episodes. And then we all thought that Bells needed to track down Luz for the key she has. Nope, he has his own key for the portal. And then we see Bellows putting on a mask with actual hair this time, saying not human. And then it goes cut into the title screen with the brand new, where the intro ends with Luz's first 4 spells. And then we see a small little scene of King and the owl spot and the mat spot. Pretty much the match figure lifting up the thing covering the cage, which causes King to freak out, only to then put it back down, causing King to fall asleep, and it pretty much does that on a loop. And that's pretty much it for the trailer. And there's so much here that this is just only a fraction of what we can expect in the first 10 episodes. Man, this is gonna be a good season, and I cannot wait for things to get started. And I hope you guys are ready too, because I'm reacting to every single episode. So I hope you guys are ready, and see you next time. Bye!